guys, and welcome back to another video from the Art of War. Today we are reacting to the video Napoleon's Marshals part 1 from the Epic History channel. So we'll jump right in because this is a long video, but before we do that, remember like, subscribe, share the video, comment and check the links in the description because now the books don't come from Amazon. They come from another company, a book depository. And so that in that company you don't have to pay shipping costs. The shipping costs are free, and the books are. Well, sorry. I will load this a bit, and the books are cheaper. So check the links. I think you will like. We have Achtung-Panzer. We have Panzer Leader, we have the Art of War comics version, standard version, and pocket version, and we also have two books about Napoleon. One is called Napoleon's Marshals, and the other is Napoleon Alive. I think it's how it is called. So we will begin now, and in the future I will be doing more reaction videos from videos of this channel. All the videos from the Napoleonic Wars, I have watched them all, but I haven't done videos of reaction. But yeah, we will start by this one that I haven't seen. It just got out today. Yeah, so let's start.
Terror belli, decus pacis. Terror in war, ornament in peace. The words inscribed on every French marshal's baton.
Interesting.
In France, the title of Marshal or Maréchal goes back at least to the 13th century. It represents the highest possible position of military authority. Authority symbolized by a marshal's baton. The title was abolished during the French Revolution as incompatible with the egalitarian spirit of the age. But in 1804, Napoleon founded a new empire and restored the ancient rank. That year he picked 18 of France's best generals and made them marshals of the empire. 8 more were created in the years that followed.
So in the beginning there were 18 marshals, but the empire the empire existed until 1814, and then Napoleon came back again from exile in Elba, and had the 100 years reign in 1815, and along those years 8 more generals were promoted to marshals. The last one being this guy over here, Grouchy. He was one of the Napoleon promoted him to marshal, and he was one of the responsibles for the Napoleon's final defeats in Waterloo. He was the main responsible. There were other factors, obviously, but he was the main responsible. Very fast, he took a third of Napoleon's army, 30,000 men approximately, and his only job was to keep Blucher from joining with Wellington at Waterloo. He didn't manage to do it. Shame on you, Grouchy. Let's continue.
The marshals outranked everyone in the new empire, apart from Napoleon's family, princes, and ministers of state. They came from every background, sons of aristocrats and innkeepers, professional soldiers, and those who'd learned on the job, old school Republicans and Bonaparte loyalists. The youngest, just half the age of the oldest.
Oh, and a note about Davout, he's like my favorite marshal of Napoleon, and considered the best Marshal of Napoleon, was Davout. He won a battle in Austerlitz against the Prussians, who were twice the numbers, and he won alone with the Prussians twice as big, with the army twice as big. Let's continue.
And though Marshal was a civil title, not strictly a military rank, the men known to the army as les gros bonnets, the big hats, were arguably the most extraordinary, diverse, brilliant, and flawed group of military commanders in history. The most favoured were showered with titles and wealth. But the price too was high. Half were wounded, 3 were killed or died of wounds.
One of the killed from wounds was Marshal Lane, one of the best two marshals of Napoleon, and arguably his best friend. He died in the Battle of Jena. No, Jena. What am I saying? He died on the Battle of. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait, I'm remembering. He died on the Battle of. Let me remember. Of. Come on, I need to remember. He died on the Battle of. In Austria, in the Danube. It was in the Danube. He died in the. He died on the Battle of. Aspern-Essling. That's the word. It was Napoleon's first defeat. Was Aspern-Essling, and he died in it. Yeah, and by the way, one of the best friends of Napoleon and one of his most known marshals was Marshal Murat, and he betrayed Napoleon. Napoleon made him king of Naples, and he, in the end, turned against Napoleon and betrayed him. Later, he was shot by the rightful king of Naples.
2 were executed.
The executed were Marshal Ney for treason against Louis XVIII and Marshal Murat.
This is Epic History TV's guide to Napoleon's marshals. All 26 have been ranked according to our own evaluation of their achievements as marshals, with expert guidance from retired Lieutenant Colonel Remy Porte, former Chief Historian of the French Army. First, a thank you to our sponsor, Call of War. Call of War is a free online PvP strategy game played by millions of users worldwide that gives you the chance to rewrite World War II history. Choose your country, join the war, and
let's pass
to come up tree. Build an empire with other players can be played on 18,000 for 30,000 French. More than 2,000.
This was the general, not the marshal, also killed in Aspern-Essling.
French generals served in the revolution. More than 2,000 French generals served in the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. Many were brilliant leaders. A few probably deserved to be marshals, more than some who were. Any selection can only be difficult and highly subjective, but here's our pick of 12 of the best. Bertrand, Napoleon's faithful aide-de-camp, who commanded 4th Corps at the Battle of Leipzig. Clausel, a veteran commander of the war in Spain.
Clausel was the general that took command of the army under command of Marshal Marmont, but Marshal Marmont was wounded and he took command of the army in the rest of the battle. The battle was lost and Wellington captured Salamanca. The Duke of Wellington, the Iron Duke.
Day, Napoleon's close friend, killed at Marengo, aged 31.
this General Desai um, was how should he was imperative in the invasion of Egypt in 1798, and he even said when he died at Marengo, he even said, how was it? Uh, Tell the emperor that I'm sorry I didn't. It was not emperor, the consul. Yeah, at that time it was consul. Tell the consul that I I'm sorry that I did not do enough to be remembered. Something like that. This next general, I'm gonna guess it's going to be Eugene, the the yes, Eugene, the viceroy of Italy.
Prince Eugene, Napoleon's adopted son, a hero of the Russian retreat. Gérard, one of Napoleon's best corps commanders by 1814, made a marshal by King Louis-Philippe in 1830. Goudon, whose infantry division bore the brunt of the fighting at Auerstedt in 1806, died of wounds near Smolensk in 1812. Junot, who first served with Napoleon at Toulon in 1793, probably committed suicide after his fall from favour in 1813.
I'll just do a pause. If you're Portuguese, you probably know about Junot. He was the one that commanded the first invasion of Portugal. I don't think he should be marshal. He failed miserably at the job, and in Russia, the Napoleon almost managed to surround all of the Russian army and destroy early in the campaign, but Junot, when he crossed the river, one of the rivers in Russia, to trap the enemy from the south, he just he didn't move. He just sat there, and that's when Napoleon said that he would never be a marshal. And Lasalle was a very good cavalry commander, one of the best light cavalry commander of the age. Light cavalry.
Lasalle, the Hussar general, among the best light cavalry commanders of the Napoleonic Wars, killed at Wagram, aged 34. Maison, who told his division on the morning of Leipzig that they must win that day or all be killed, made marshal by King Charles X in 1829. Nansouty.
A note about Lasalle, very quickly, we need to advance, but a note about Lasalle, he in the battle, before the Battle of Wagram, where he died, he said, any soldier that doesn't die by 30 is a coward. Myself pretend to not exceed that age. And he didn't. He died at 34. Interesting.
The heavy cavalry commander who died of wounds and exhaustion, aged 46. Saint-Hilaire, hero of Austerlitz, died of wounds received at Aspern in 1809. Vandamme, of whom Napoleon once said, if I had to invade hell, I'd want him commanding the vanguard. And now, Napoleon's 26 marshals, ranked in order of merit. 26. Marshal Pérignon.
I bet with you, you can bet whatever you want with me, that the first will be Davout. The first. And I'm thinking, this I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that the second will be Marshal Lane. I'm not sure. I will do more provisions as we go from here. On the 20th Marshal, I will do more provisions. Let's start. But I think they will not do every Marshal, so I will just do now my provisions for the worst Marshal. I mean, not worst, but had lesser accomplishments. I think in the worst, the less accomplished marshals will also be Marshal Brune and Marshal Moncey. Those two, I think it will be there. But let's see.
When Napoleon created the first 18 marshals, 4 were honorary marshals, recognized for past service to France. Pérignon was one of these. A former officer in the Royal Army, he'd won fame in the Revolutionary Wars, fighting the Spanish on the Pyrenees front. He later served as ambassador to Spain. After a brief retirement, he was sent to Italy and commanded the French left wing at the disastrous Battle of Novi, where the army was routed by Suvorov's Russians, and Pérignon was badly wounded and captured.
Imagine the Russians in Italy. Great, just great.
And Pérignon was badly wounded and captured. His appointment as honorary marshal in 1804 was a political move by Napoleon, a way to win acceptance for his new empire, by emphasizing continuity with the revolution.
Why does he have these marks on his head? See, in the picture, in this picture, he has other one here. Come on, go to the doctor.
Rewarding its military heroes. Pérignon never held active command as a marshal, but served as governor of Parma, and later Naples. His eldest son, Pierre, was a cavalry officer, killed at Friedland in 1807. Pérignon retired in 1813, but refused to support Napoleon when he returned from exile in 1815 and was stripped of his marshal's baton. His rank was later restored by King Louis XVIII.
You got stripped, bruh. Only the fat Louis XVIII gives you that baton. Come on, Pérignon, come on.
25. Marshal Brune.
I told you to be Brune. I told you.
Brune was another marshal whose appointment owed much to politics. As a fiery Republican and former close ally of revolutionary leader Georges Danton, his support was politically useful for Napoleon. Brune joined the army during the Terror, the most extreme period of the revolution. His political connections ensured rapid promotion, and he was sent to help put down a counter-revolutionary revolt in Bordeaux. In 1795, as a 30-year-old brigadier general, he helped Napoleon disperse a royalist mob in Paris with the famous whiff of grape shot.
Yeah, in the series Napoleon's life, the movie starts with him in Paris, destroying that uprising and being promoted to. No, that was before. He, in the siege of Toulon, he was promoted to brigadier general, and he was further promoted after his victory in Paris.
Brune then served with Napoleon in Italy, fighting in several of his famous early victories. He won a reputation as a fierce divisional commander and enthusiastic plunderer of Italian towns and churches. In 1798, he commanded the French occupation of Switzerland, while extorting 200,000 francs from the wealthy Swiss communes, the equivalent of several $1 million today.
Come on, you need to plunder. Who doesn't want to plunder and become rich? We see in nowadays, we see people plunder. Look at Seattle and Portland. They are plundering too. Normal, completely normal.
It was said that Brune's personal carriage was so laden with gold when it left Switzerland that it immediately broke down. The next year he won his most important victory while commanding French forces in Holland, defeating an Anglo-Russian army at the Battle of Castricum and saving France from invasion. But a short, calamitous spell commanding the army of Italy convinced Napoleon that Brune was not fit for high command. Instead, he sent him to be ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, where in 1804 he learned that he'd been made a marshal. But Brune's lack of delicacy, combined with a towering sense of self-importance, did not make him a successful diplomat. He was recalled to France, but as governor of the Hanseatic ports, blundered again, drafting a treaty with Sweden that failed to make any mention of the French emperor. Whether a deliberate insult or act of incompetence, Napoleon was furious, and Brune was sacked.
You got sacked,
Brune
bro!
spent the next 7 years at his country estate. He bitterly opposed the return of the Bourbon monarchy in 1814 and rallied to Napoleon when he returned from exile the next year. But in the tumult following Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo, Brune was cornered by a royalist mob in Avignon, murdered and tossed into the River Rhône.
What happens to... Oh, and Sérurier, yeah, Sérurier. But Sérurier, he was deeply trusted by Napoleon, and Napoleon told him everything. So, if you want secrets from Napoleon, talk to Sérurier. He was the guy that defended Paris in 1814 and burned every standard that still was left in Paris from the army. And the sword of Frederick the Great, so he could not so the Prussians could not get the sword of Frederick the Great again.
24. Marshal Sérurier.
He retained all the characteristics and severity of an infantry major, an honest man with integrity and reliability, but unfortunate as a general. When you give that sick line. Oh, when you give that sick line. Napoleon was expert at giving those sick lines. Expert.
Sérurier was another of the 4 honorary marshals whom Napoleon wished to recognize for past service. In contrast to Brune, Sérurier was a professional soldier of the old school, a veteran of the 7 Years' War, and a stern disciplinarian. This background was not necessarily an asset.
Oh, he was in Portugal. Okay.
During the French Revolution, when any officer who'd served in the Royal Army was viewed with suspicion. But Colonel Sérurier's training and diligence were soon recognized as assets to the new French Republic. By 1795, he was a general serving with Napoleon in Italy, where his stand against corruption and looting won him the nickname the Virgin of Italy. Sérurier was a reliable, if unspectacular, commander, who won an important victory at Mondovi at a crucial moment in Napoleon's rise to fame. The following year, he accepted the Austrian surrender at the end of the long siege of Mantua. 2 years later, fighting under General Moreau's command, Sérurier and his division were cut off by the Russians and forced to surrender. Released on parole, he was back in Paris in time to support Napoleon's coup d'etat of 18 Brumaire.
He participated in this.
Sérurier then retired from active command. But Napoleon, remembering his past service, made him an honorary marshal and governor of Les Invalides, the retirement home and hospital for old soldiers. There, shortly before the fall of Paris in 1814, Sérurier oversaw the burning of more than 1,000 captured flags and standards.
Oh, because it was not just standards from the French army, it was also captured from the Russian, the British, the Spanish, the Russians, the Austrian, the Prussians, all the armies they fought.
Prevent them falling into Allied hands. 23. Marshal Kellermann.
The oldest marshal of Napoleon. At Valmy, he fought at Valmy. I think that I was probably the boldest general who ever lived, but even I wouldn't have dared to take post there. So, guys, this is how we'll end the part for today. This is a big video with me talking. It will be like an hour long. I want to make it short so that you have time to watch it all because it's amazing. So we are going to end here. This will be the first part. We will release a second part. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and until next time, bye.